Okay. But I was saying for the past, I think last week I took just two sets of the way. Let me check my trade history. I think I took a buy on JP AUD, then okay gold as well, and NZ card. Alright, the JP AUD. This was this was the buy. As usual, our type A setup. I told you the first thing you do is to try to spot out your entry model on the 1 hour time frame. But most importantly, your first approach is to do what? Is to make sure that you know where price is coming from. All right? Where price is coming from, where price is going to. Those are the two most important things. So how do you achieve this? By doing what? Reading market structure. All right? Reading market structure. This is the 4 hours time frame for this pair. And if you look very clearly, you see that this pair has been what? It has been in an uptrend for so long. All right, price has been buying continuous buys. You can see here this was literally what this is one of our entry models, and then price mitigated higher low, higher high. The next higher low created a new higher high continuously, right? And then if you look very clearly at what happened here, this is a type B that price is currently buying from. Price is buying from this zone, which is what a demand level. And as much as it is a demand level, even people that trade support and resistance will call this a support level. Why? Remember when I taught you support and resistance, I told you that a support zone is a zone that price has what mitigated multiple times and still keeps rejecting them. And if you look at what's happening here, it keeps coming and buying, coming and buying, coming and buying. All right. So price is bullish no matter the strategy you want to be looking at this form and the 4 hours time frame, it is what very much bullish. Now, if you're going down to the 1 hour time frame, you realize that on the 1 hour time frame, right, this is actually still buying. This was where price is coming from. All right. First mitigation came back again, second mitigation at this level, and then what created this sweep. Now there was a sweep of market structure here, and then what happens next? Price actually pulls back to this level, right? Came back again to put in this low, giving us a sort of like equal lows liquidity. That's one. And then if you look very clearly, we have what an imbalance below here that price is what yet to fill. Remember that I told you guys that imbalances are what they're price magnets. So price is usually what attracted to them. All right. And then if you look very clearly, um at this zone, we had like this high that I'm expecting that price takes out, right? This is still going to die. Definitely, this is still going to die. And if you look very clearly, you can see that price is what coming from a demand level. So this is just like a continuation. Now on the 1 hour time frame, this is established that on the 4 hours, and this is actually bullish. What happens if you look at the 1 hour time frame now? This is what our typical type A setup. Your sweep, your every of your six validations. All right. I told you the next thing you do is to go to the 4 hours to make sure that what you're doing on the 1 hour is in the 4 hours what in the 4 hours discount or premium, depending on whether you're buying or what or you're selling. I think this was the last low before the high, right? So if this is the last value point, I'm going to pick out my Fibonacci 2 and map out what for me. This higher low, no, this was the higher low that price, all right? In consideration, let me just use this to this. And then you see that this was actually in the first 50% of price leg. All right. And then also price was not coming from a demand level or a support level. All right. And then going back to the 1 hour time frame, what happens next? If you're going to be using candlestick confirmation, pattern confirmation, or all of that, price came first of all created with the first engulfing, came back to mitigate the engulfing with the second engulfing, then came back again to mitigate the engulfing again with the third engulfing. So this would have been what enough buy prompt if you wanted to buy, and then I targeted what this first internal high here. I told you that at the point you start realizing that okay, usually I think in the normal market as January, this would have been my target, the overall high at this point, because it's what it is a week high that price is eventually going to play. But then you don't want to be caught up in this whole price retracement. All right. You don't want to be caught up in this whole price retracement because there are times where the price can just take out the first high and then do what retrace before coming back again. So instead, I now reduce my targets to what internal highs. So long as it meets my usually my average RR is like five, maybe five six, but usually five. All right. So long as it meets my just target internally, so that price just which can take profit without stress. That's the main reason why you see some traders just do 1 to 3 and what and rest. All right. If you realize that targeting about highs and lows as in making you chicken out of trades or trades reversing on you or all of that, I told you set something with more realistic. Adjust with whatever the market is doing at the moment. All right. And then looking at this is the trade I'm currently on. BPCAD. This is very slow, but then it's still. Um, so the JPCAD, it's more like our type B setup, right? On the 4 hour time frame, I told you the first thing you want to pay attention to is what is structure. What is price doing? Where's price coming from? Where's price going to? This is not a high probability setup, by the way. It's not a high probability setup, but then it's something that I can risk on for price to do what take out this external high. Currently on the 4 hour time frame, it is bullish, right? Series of lows, high, lows, highs. But then this was the previous higher low, which I'm anticipating that it does what that it puts in a new high. All right. But then if you look very clearly, this is not this particular buy is not really in the 4 hours discount. All right, depending on where you're marking it from. But then this is not really in the power discount. So it's not really of high probability. But then it's something that I thought to risk on to take out the previous high. Because on the 1 hour, if I'm marking out to the 1 hour actually, internal structure, I think it looks good. And then it's still the same type B set of the sweep, the inducement, all of that, all right? Not head probability, but there was what risking on. I think just these two. What else? What else? What else? All right. But then my main purpose of hosting this class was to review some of the setups that people took last week. All right. I'll focus on the losing trades instead. Probably next time we'll go over the winning trades. Now, if you look at what's happening on what happened on the volatility 50x synthetics, I mean, if mm, sorry, this this was there. Uh, all right. So this volatility 50x on the let me do 2 hours standing, and this was a buy that I saw someone take on the group. I don't know what time frame that was. Let me see, 15 minutes I think. Let's check 15 minutes. Then she was trying to buy from I think this area. This was the zone for the buy confirmation. Now I don't really know the entire trade idea or thought process behind taking your point of interest from lower time frames like this, especially on synthetics. I keep saying that on synthetics, you cannot afford to make mistakes. As much as you guys have been checking on the chat and discussion groups that okay, what you guys have been doing so far has been working, but then there are times whereby the market may not be as favorable as you think it is. Right? So most of these silly mistakes can take you out. taking a buy from somewhere like this is not really realistic, but this is just what a random order block. All right. But then she was trying to buy from this point, and then what happens? Price takes it out and then comes backwards to reclaim that level. All right. And then this is, like I said, this ended up as a losing trade first of all, because in fact, if you look at the bigger picture on the 4 hours or on the 1 hour time frame, you realize that the entire thing was not really worth taking. Okay, this is the 1 hour. Marking out on 1 hour, you have your higher low, your lower low, the lower high, and then the new low, this high, and then price now change character to take out this previous high. All right. So this was just like a this was the higher low at this point. So it's higher low here. I put in what that new higher high. So trying to take a buy from this zone here internally may not really be what realistic, but then it is what it is. Price took out and then did what came back to what reclaim that level. And I told you when you have an order block that you are unsure of, all you have to do is to do it is to wait to see number one what that order block creates, or number two price taking out that other block to do what to give you a reclaim block continuation. And I told you for your reclaim blocks, if it's an other block that was not well induced, then you have to see what's a clear inducement before you execute what the reclaim block. But then if it's an other block that was what that met all of the criteria and still failed, then you can take what the reclaim block as continuation without probably waiting for inducement or what or anything. All right. And then if you look at most of the setup that people have been taking on I think 75, 10s and the rest of them, it's still what? It's still the same thing that you've been doing all over and all over again. The concepts of what? Mitigation blocks, the concept of the claim blocks, the concept of what? Other blocks, the claim blocks, all of them is still what's the same thing. Let me take a look at 10, is it 10 or 10s? Um, there was a particular pair that I was saying something on, but then I think I missed. Let me see. 10, so synthetics. I want to capture synthetics in like 2 months or something. All right, if you look at what happened there as well, it's still what? Still the same thing over and over again. But here you have what your typical type B setup. All right, price comes, takes out the low, mitigate and does what? Puts in a new high. All right, and the same thing that happens in say currencies can happen here. As much as you already understand stacking at specific points, it is still important, right? That you learn how to target. You don't have to always take out the overall high. All right. I told you guys that something like this can happen sometimes when it comes to trading. All right, you can have a good setup like this, something just like this structure. All right, and then price retracement back to your POI can cause a change of character, something just like this. All right, now this is your point of interest or your area of interest in question, and then what happens next? As price is approaching your POI, as price is approaching your POI just like this, right? You can get to this area and you use that as a supply zone to sell down. I think something like that happened on 10s before. For those of you that were buying one time, you would realize that something like this happened on 10s. When 10s was creating that, was it 10s or 10? When it was creating those chains of demand zones, and then it got to a high just like this and did what? Use that high to start selling to take out what the liquidity resting below. All right. So targeting this external points here now, you end up what? You end up either you're taking out at break even, or secondly, you're taking out probably whenever you close, right? So instead of targeting these overall highs, if you're experiencing too many reversals, you can what start targeting these internal highs instead. It can be 3 hour, it can be 4 hour, it can be 5 hour, depending on your trading strategy. But the most important thing you want to focus on is the fact that you are still consistently profitable. And for those of you that are doing well already, right, I can see the winning trade setups, the and the normal trade and discussion groups and everything that's going on there. we need to understand that it won't always be as smooth as you're saying it, right? There are times whereby you can get carried away. It just takes you one particular trade that you over risk on to start questioning yourself, right? So I need you to still to still be on track. Your risk management being still on track. You still calm as ever, all right? Don't think that, oh, because you've had like three straight wins, the fourth one must be what a win, and then you like put everything that you want to. Like I keep saying, as much as knowledge is important, capital is what's important as well. You would always see different trade opportunities. Even if you don't see anything to trade today, if you come back tomorrow, there'll still be what something to trade. And even if there's nothing to trade tomorrow, next week there would still be something to trade. The opportunities in the market are endless. But the moment you let your capital fly away, you won't be able to execute anything. The only thing that is limited in this trading is what is your capital. And your capital is your ability to execute. You can know everything, but you won't make money if you cannot execute what you know. That's why there are knowledgeable broke people everywhere. When people post things, they can analyze it. Oh, I post a setup, nobody can tell me why I bought from me. Everybody can interpret my setup and all of that. They can replicate the same thing. They can even have the same setup. But then what happens? They don't have anything to show for it. All right? That's being knowledgeable and at the same time what's being broke. So you need to make sure that you're protecting your capital. I told you, don't risk on any setup that is not worth risking on. Don't execute anything that you've looked at it and it does not matter. There are sometimes I see some trade ideas and I'm like, why? Because honestly, why? Like, do you understand? You need to be very careful with your capital. As much as your goal is to make money in this space, you also want to what? Protect what you already have. All right? Small losses, big wins, small wins, but never big losses at any point. Never what? Big losses. If you're feeling very emotional about the trade, exit. If you feel like, oh, this trade has motivated and has left you, leave it. Come back tomorrow. Do something distracting. That is why it's also very important to do what? To have things that are going on with you. If you have other hobbies, other side jobs or anything, but just something that does not keep you fixated on the screen 24 hours, always looking for something to trade and all of that. All right. So please and please and please, as much as you're doing well, protect what you already have in your quest to look for more. For those of you that are experiencing issues, you can always reach out to me. I think I've had like a couple of people, like 3 people, reached out to me in the past 1 week, which is very normal. All right. There are times whereby you just need a little, like 1 or 2 things to put you back on track. But just make sure you're not left behind. If your mates are discussing, contributing, doing anything, join them. Anything they say, join them. If you don't understand the language they're speaking, ask questions. All right, ask questions anytime that you can. There's nobody there that is bigger than you. They only learn faster than you do, which is what very valid. But allow people to carry you. Ask for help if you need help. Always reach out. All right, always reach out. It is very important. I've told you guys before that this is sample here, and if you're left behind, it is because you just want to be left behind. That's the absolute truth. I met Nat at Lost Show event in Lagos. Sometime is it this month? No, sometime last month I think. And then he was talking about capital issues, and I told him, "What's your win rate?" And he told me, I was like, "Okay, this is something that you can work on." And then after a while, I asked him just purchase a 5K account, all right? Even if you don't have enough money to trade and all of that, instead of funding your $10, this and that, purchase what a 5K account. 1 or 2 year, he passed phase one. 1 or 2 year, what he passed phase two. His certificate is currently on the achievement group, all right? And then now what is funded. Your first payout, you can purchase what a bigger account size, 15K. 15K, a good payout, you can purchase a 25K or a 50K. Like you scale little by little. I told you that so long as you're profitable, the issue of capital, this and that, may no longer be a problem. There are people that just by executing the setup that those other people are dropping on the chat and discussion group. You're making $50, $70. It's somewhere to start from. So please don't let yourself be left behind, and don't wait for people to talk before you can say something. You would be surprised that those people you're depending on their trade ideas. There'll be times they won't be online. There'll be times they would even stop contributing there. What happens to you? All right. So I don't want you depending on other people's signals or for trade ideas or for anything. Do your thing. Do your thing. You are the only one that can save yourself. All right. Like I said, if you're having any issues, you can always reach out to me. Just tag you in the group, let me know what's going on, all of that. All right. And then I should be a little more active than I was last week on the group. If you have questions, issues, anything, you can always tag me to relay back to me and all of that. All right. I wish you guys a profitable week. Hopefully, if I see anything I'm going to trade this week, I should drop it on the trade idea groups as well. And I expect same from you. Always update your winning setups, your losing setups. From the next week that we're meeting, we're going to start reviewing what losing trades and winning trades and all of that. I think that's a way that other people can learn as well. All right, seeing why people took these trades, seeing why people were stopped out, seeing why people exited at points they exited and all of that. All right. I'll see you guys again Saturday 9 p.m. Until then, do take care of yourselves and thank you so much for coming. I think Stan should upload this recording before this time tomorrow. What's this guy's name? Shiblis, thank you so much for hanging on.